Black. I am with TechD. Just a quick background on TechD. We are an IBM Premier Business Partner. We pretty much focus on anything and everything that is data related with a very heavy emphasis on data governance. We're going to be talking about Watson Knowledge Catalog today, which we're very, very excited for. This is actually our second round of webinars with WKC. We had one about 2 or 3 months ago, and by popular demand, we are back. We have a newest release coming out on May 5th. So we wanted to take time today to cover WKC as a whole, cover the platform, what it entails, and obviously cover some of the new features that are in the tool and coming out in May. So I know we have a variety of attendees today. We have some folks that are currently using 2.5, which is the latest version. We have some folks using Information Server, which you will see many similarities in WKC. We have some folks evaluating WKC in the midst of a sales cycle. So we're going to show pretty much front to back of the platform. Essentially, WKC is an integrated platform, and it helps organize, curate, and prepare data for consumption and analytics. So it's a small portion of a larger platform called Cloud Pak for data, but it really encompasses everything within that organized layer. So we're going to be covering everything at a high level. We'll go over some various use cases that we see customers taking advantage of. We're going to do an actual demo and a deep dive of the product. And Emma's also going to give us a sneak peek of the roadmap and sort of what's to come in the future. So before we get started, a few housekeeping items. We do have a free trial. IBM offers a free trial of Cloud Pak for Data, which is the larger platform where you can access WKC. I'm going to post that link in the chat so everyone has it. All you do is pretty much make a username and password, and you have a free access to the cloud version for 7 days. TechD will also offer a free one-on-one tutorial session. There's a lot in the portfolio, so we're willing to dedicate some time and work with whoever wants to use the tool and help you get a basic understanding how you really function around the UI, and we can even work through use cases and business cases as well. Okay, we are going to have a follow-up session in probably about a month around data governance as a whole and how Watson Knowledge Catalog ties to data governance in an organization, not just around the tooling, but also around people and processes as well. So we want to keep this interactive. Everyone is on mute, but if you guys have any questions, just post it in the chat. Emma loves being interrupted, so don't worry. And with that being said, I'm gonna let you take it away, Emma. Like I said, anyone has questions, just let us know, and I'll post the free trial in the chat right
now. Hi, yeah, thank you for the intro, Phil. Appreciate it. And like you said, I'm happy to answer questions. I'm not as familiar with Zoom, so I'm not sure how I can bring up Q&A on my screen. I think maybe
I have Q&A, so I'll jump in.
Okay, great. Yeah, so you just let me know if there's a question that comes up that I need to answer them. So thank you all for joining. Really appreciate it. I will go over first high level about Watson, our IBM strategy around data and AI, how Watson Knowledge Catalog fits into that, and then I'll try to spend most of my time on the demo because I know that's probably the more interesting part so that you can actually see the offering. All right. Per usual, I have to have a disclaimer on it that if we have time to get to the roadmap, some of the dates are subject to change. Or if I talk to things that are coming up, then that date might change. Okay. So we found that our survey by MIT has actually found that about 64% of organizations, while they want to prioritize AI, they really haven't started to enable self-service analytics. They're capturing data, capturing in a warehouse, but then most of these organizations aren't able to supply that data in a trusted manner, easy to get to method to their data consumers so that they can actually start to monetize on AI models. I think someone's doing housework during this, which is totally fine. But our solution to that, because that really falls under, if you look at this, when going from modernization to self-service analytics or data warehousing to self-service analytics really falls under the organized part of our AI ladder. So at IBM, we have the following steps that you kind of have to take in order to operationalize and put AI models into production. So first, of course, you have to collect the data, then organize, and that is really where Watson Knowledge Catalog falls. So that's where we'll be focusing all of our time here. And so that then supplies the business-ready data for analysis, and finally, then the ability to infuse AI into your applications. So maybe we haven't introduced this term. No, we're not unique in using data ops, but we have started to follow the data ops methodology. So similar to DevOps, data ops is around people, processes, and technology. It's about being agile and in your analytics and your AI use cases, and iterating over time on bringing and understanding your data, adding it to the catalog, and making it available per whatever need comes up. So Watson Knowledge Catalog is built to support the different parts of data ops, all within one end-to-end platform. And so we are bringing together capabilities around data governance, data quality, and data consumption. So that is multiple different personas. So data governance would be owned by perhaps your chief data office and their data stewards. It's really setting up the foundation and managing your metadata, making sure that you comply with regulatory requirements by enforcing policies and standards across the business. So this helps you know your data, know what you need to do. And then especially the iterative part is when it comes to data quality and trusting your data, analyzing your data, and then making it available for consumption by your data citizens, who will then use it in the self-service experience so they can actually add value to the business. So I want to point out that Watson Knowledge Catalog, we call it a knowledge catalog instead of a data catalog. That's because being on a platform that supports data and AI and analytics or anything else that you do with your data, it's more than just a data asset or a structured data table. In fact, we catalog unstructured data. We will catalog models and dashboards, notebooks, connections, anything that you need to catalog that's related to the information that your data citizens will consume. So the capabilities that fall under this all are on one single experience. So within data governance, we have a business glossary. And so I'll be able to show you that today so that you can define and set up a common understanding of your business terms. And the fact that it's on an integrated platform like Watson Knowledge Catalog means that your data consumers can find data and put it in the context of your business and this common understanding. Policy management. So policies, so you can communicate what standards your organization have. But again, having it on this single platform means that we can also automatically enforce those policies when it comes to data consumption. So I'll be able to show you data protection rules that will do that and anonymize data and restrict access to data for your data consumers. Finally, if any of you have Information Governance Catalog, which is our legacy catalog, we've added in reference data management capabilities where we didn't have that before. Because usually we had a RDM hub. It was part of our master data management portfolio. But we've decided that reference data management actually sits within your data catalog and our data governance tooling, because it's important that not only can you manage your reference data set, but then you can use those codes and values so that your data consumers can better understand what they're using in their data. Also, you can use reference data to profile and understand your data when you go through data discovery, as well as discover data quality issues in following that reference data set. So again, much more powerful when it's on this platform with multiple other personas who are using it. Finally, also data lineage. This is something we supported in Information Governance Catalog as well. Right now, it's data lineage for operational needs. What we're building at the moment is also data lineage so that it works for your business users, your data consumers, as well as the regulatory requirements or data engineers who need to understand impact analysis to perhaps a change that they make to an ETL job. And then finally, setting up classifications so that you can automatically, when discovering data, then profile it and classify it. So going beyond that foundation, once you set those things up in data governance, quality of discovering data, profiling and analyzing, finding data quality issues, suggesting business terms so that the data steward can eventually publish that asset into the knowledge catalog for the data consumer to come in. And not only are the policies enforced, so it's safe, they can also trust it coming from data quality, but then within a self-service experience, capture that data asset, add it into a project that they're working on with their smaller teams and collaborate together and prep that data all within Watson Knowledge Catalog. So while there's a lot of capabilities in this single experience, we're building persona-specific experiences based off of roles and permissions. But then also it's extremely important that all of these are in one place.
So we had a quick question, Emma,
Yeah, go ahead.
And let me try to tackle it and you can try to piggyback on it as well. So where does MDM fit into this picture? And
Sure.
I would say from my perspective, master data management is really getting a single source of truth, right? A single source of truth from your data, whether there's multiple records, trying to get a 360-degree view of your customer, your product, or whatever it may be. I would say that Watson Knowledge Catalog in this entire platform is a prerequisite before and during master data management. Understanding that the data quality is correct, understanding that the data lineage and all the policies are correct before making that master data copy. So traditionally, IBM had components of this, which was an information server, and it was actually baked into our master data management platform. So all of these really components were integrated within our MDM solution, which they're going to be as well, because everything's going to be sitting on a single platform called Cloud Pak for Data. But from a data quality and a data governance perspective, this all works in conjunction with MDM, and it's a must-have as well.
Right, exactly. So master data management is also on Cloud Pak for Data coming soon. And because of that, all of the offerings on Cloud Pak for Data, we have to integrate with each other so it can be one end-to-end experience. And so therefore, we will have more integrations with master data management being on this Cloud Pak for Data platform, which is nice.
Exactly. So I would say if you're undergoing any master data management activities, Watson Knowledge Catalog and these components at least are a must-have to having a successful MDM practice.
Is there another question? Blinking lights.
There's a new offering from IBM where Cloud Pak for Data and MDM are bundled together. No, it's not a question. It's more of a statement.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Cool. Okay, so expanding out from what we offer with Watson Knowledge Catalog, we've mentioned this platform, Cloud Pak for Data. So Cloud Pak for Data is a platform where we offer a lot of services that relate back to that AI ladder that I showed you. So we have ability to collect information like through DB2, but then also using data virtualization to virtualize assets coming from those data sources. And then it includes Watson Knowledge Catalog, and then when you go into building AI, Watson Studio, and when you go to actually deploying the AI and monitoring it, OpenScale and machine learning. So it's all different steps of that AI ladder within Cloud Pak for Data on one common platform that runs on Red Hat OpenShift. So really, you can put it anywhere that works for Red Hat OpenShift, which means you can have it on premise behind your firewall. You can have it on Azure or AWS, but then you can also have Cloud Pak for Data services on IBM Cloud as a SaaS offering. So many different deployment options. And the power is that you buy what you need. So it's really, you can get just Watson Knowledge Catalog. Don't think that you have to get like this gigantic platform, but it's the fact that now the platform will mature with you. So if your next step is, you know, working on collaborating on AI and you want an auto AI solution or something like that, or you want to switch from a tool that you're using today to one that's more integrated with Watson Knowledge Catalog for your data scientists to pull from that catalog, then perhaps you might want to also use Watson Studio. And then you would just need to increase the amount of compute that you purchase. So it's not by licenses as much as you just buy compute power for what it is that you need to get done. So it's a different model that we have than we normally did on premise, but I think a much better, more flexible one, and especially one that will help you mature. And so I have a bit more details about that in a little bit. But I had brought up that we had automation, machine learning in different places. So I wanted to really drill down into where we can help you get started, as well as in your daily activities, because let's be real, starting a data governance program, curating a data catalog can take so much time. And that's kind of why data ops exists, so that you can at least be agile about it and not spend so much time just creating like your business glossary and then your program fails because you can't see any results quickly. So in getting started quickly, first I want to point out that we have a really cool machine learning based service where you can ingest a PDF, and then we will capture business terms or governance rules from that PDF and suggest adding them into the catalog, which is really cool. So maybe you have a policy document that you've already written within your company. You're like, oh no, now we have to translate this into the platform. So ingesting that document will help you get there faster. And then beyond that, we also have our own body of knowledge for CCPA, GDPR, and CECL, so that when it comes to assigning those business terms to assets that are in your catalog, we'll use that body of knowledge to make recommendations. Beyond that, creating data classes. So data classes are used for automatically profiling your data and understanding what is in each column. And so it can take time to write out all of the regular expressions or Java code for each data class. We have out of the box data classes, 160 plus of it, but then you can also profile when you're curating your data catalog and you profile data, we'll come up with similar columns and create a fingerprint algorithm that can then be used to save as a data class. So then you find all future columns that look similar to that data class, to make it a lot more easy in finding the columns that you want to find. And then finally, we'll automatically do that profiling with the data classes so that we can classify each column and make it a lot quicker. So then when it comes time to, on a daily basis, just adding in data into the catalog or sorry, mind blank, or just working on what data you can offer to your data consumers, we have search, so that's based on machine learning, and we'll try to surface the asset that makes the most sense to that user at the time. In addition to that, based off of historical assignments of business terms and relationships that you have set up in your business glossary, we will be able to recommend business terms to assign to columns, because that can actually take a ton of time for data stewards to go through and put data assets in the context of the business. In addition to that, when looking through and finding data, we also have a recommendation engine. So based off of what others have been looking at within your organization, what assets you've been looking at, and the ratings and reviews, we'll try to surface assets that are most applicable to the user. And then finally, we talked about how now that we're in an integrated platform, you can automate policies and rules. So we have data protection rules that will automatically restrict access or anonymize data. Okay, and to continue on, the great thing about having this Watson Knowledge Catalog platform that's part of Cloud Pak for Data is, like we talked about, everything being in one place, consumers trusting the data because they're pulling from a catalog where the data that entered the catalog went through the data quality tooling, policies automatically being enforced, business glossary being right there so that you can put your data assets in context of the business when you're going to start using them within the platform. And then another benefit that we have of being in the same place as potentially other data science tools is governance of not only data, but also governing the AI lifecycle and using your policies to enforce protection of models and validation of models. Beyond that, also, I've talked to quite a few customers who it's gotten really expensive to have custom integrations. So that's something that, just being IBM, which is gigantic, of course, but also that means that we have less custom integrations that are required between our different tools. We talked about how now you pay for compute. So you don't have to take advantage of the entire platform. You just buy enough compute for the use case that you have, and then get more compute as your use cases grow or as you mature. And as you move into other offerings, have a similar experience in administration, so it's less training time. Everything in addition to that is built on open source technology. So Watson Knowledge Catalog itself is built on top of open metadata standards that's coming out of Project Egeria. So it's an open source project that we use for synchronizing metadata. And also every service has APIs in order to integrate with other tools or make any other configurations that you need. And so I like to talk about this because I think that the direction that we're going in now of everything being on Cloud Pak for data, Watson Knowledge Catalog, having this end-to-end experience is actually really powerful because the only way that you can be successful with whatever data project you're doing is by having everything in one place. All right, so with that, I can start my demo unless there are any other questions that came up during my chat.
Nope, looks like we're good.
Okay, great. So okay, can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, welcome to Watson Knowledge Catalog. For those of you who are on version 2.5, you'll notice that this looks quite a bit different from what you have. And so that's because we spent a large part of our time actually updating every offering that's on Cloud Pak for data, but across IBM to a new style guide that we have. And so even our marketing uses the same exact style guide. So everything's branded in that way. But I just think it looks a lot nicer now. And you'll notice across the platform that it all uses a similar kind of look and feel. But we have a new homepage too. That means that you can get to where you need a lot quicker. So I'll start out with talking about the perspective of a data scientist or a data analyst who's looking for data. So I'll put that hat on and say I'm working on a customer project. So customer, and before I was looking at this, so maybe file is what I'm looking for. So this was another place where we use machine learning to surface what is most important. But here I found a customer file. It's then our catalog. I'm going to go to the catalog first to show that. But we do support multiple catalogs within Watson Knowledge Catalog so that not only do you could have one that's meant for the entire enterprise, but you could also have catalogs that have just data assets that marketing would want to look at or finance. And so you're splitting it up by line of business and controlling access at the catalog level. So you can then search, here's our recommendation engine that I talked about. You can also search by metadata. So say there's a business term that I think fits what I'm looking for best. So customer lifetime value, sure. And here's that customer file that I was looking for. So if I think that this is a data asset that would be most useful for me, now I can actually look at the data and get a feel for what's in it. So this is showing 1,000 rows out of 3,000. Understand what kind of data is, but if I want more information, then I can profile this and capture specific metrics about each column. So I can see, okay, this is what happens when you demo something that is about to GA. That was working literally right before this call. But our profiling service, when it's working, it captures the information that we take within our data quality tool to show different metrics of what each column contains in the data class, and key information that would be important, and understanding if this is a file you can need. That you can use. So for example, you'll be able to look at, say, the column for the country that's listed, and I can go back so you can see it. All of these are US, so that you can use profile to say, okay, yeah, everything's US for this. So if my analytics project is actually looking at global customers, then I will need to go and find either the global version of this, or maybe there's a customer file per each country. To talk a little bit about access, I mentioned that you can restrict access by different catalogs. You can also restrict access at the actual asset level. And then the third method is through data protection rules, which I'll show you, that will let you, based off of metadata, then anonymize or restrict access to those assets with that metadata. All right, and then finally, I can look at all of the events that happen to this asset over time, and especially understand where this asset was used in other projects, who has added it to different projects. So I created a test project, so you can see I added it then when I was acting as an admin. Okay, so say I forgot to also mention reviews. So we do have rating reviews, so you can collaborate and just socialize between yourselves. Okay, was this helpful? Is there something more that maybe you want to, it's only great for a specific use case or something like that. And I also apologize if you hear drilling in the background. Sounds like my neighbors are putting up a ton of pictures. All right, so if this is helpful for my project, then I would add it to a project, which I have already done here, but I would choose a project name and it will get added. But we'll go back and I will show you the project where I added it to. So a catalog is really meant for sharing assets across the enterprise, and projects are meant for small teams to work together in order to analyze per a specific use case. So they're temporary. Projects will go away, catalogs will stick around to continue to share the assets. So perhaps at the end of this, I will have a notebook that I can then publish back into the catalog for the rest of the organization to see. Now, as a data scientist, I might also want to refine the data I'm using so that it's prepped and I can get rid of junk values or change the view to something that I want. So we do have a self-service data refinery application. And so right now what it's doing is it's pulling into the connection for this online orders asset and capturing it within data refinery so that I can make changes to it, visualize the data, and better understand what's in it or change the view of it. So that's why it's been thinking for a little bit of time as it's pulling everything in. So we can wait a second. All right, we'll see. Hopefully this we won't have the same fluke from before. All right, awesome. If I want to visualize this first to say, hey, what type of customers am I capturing these online orders? What products are in these orders? And get a feel for the data before I go and shape it using the refinery tool. So receiving the data, and I was using the heat map before. I thought that was pretty interesting. So I can look at heat map by product type and country. Thought this was cool. So I can see the types of products that people buy in different countries. So according to this heat map, for example, the United States buys lots of packs or whatever that is in this simple data set. And I can go back then to the data and use the GUI to refine what it looks like. So perhaps I want to remove duplicates of transactions. I create this new step in what we call a flow, and I apply it. And so this then will change the way the data look per what I requested. And now the coolest part is that I can edit output. So I can send this back into the project to work on with my small team, or I can actually send this new view of data to a connection that we have. So we have a number of target connections where you can go send this to, for example, Cognos, and use this new view of the data within Cognos, depending on what tool you're in. So as you can see, and I'll leave this, it was pretty simple for me to go find data that I was using, better understand what the data is, and then work on it within a project with my smaller team. So with that being said, next I will show you what it means to actually set up the foundation of the catalog to make this so much easier for a data scientist or a data analytics person, data analyst. Any questions from the chat?
Nope, we're good to go for now.
All right. All right, so we will come back to this, and now I will show you what it's like as a data steward. Okay, so if I go under organize and then look at data and AI governance, these are what we call governance artifacts within the platform, but it's really your business glossary, setting up your classification, reference data management, and policy management. So sometimes the first things an organization will do when starting their data governance program is set up their policies. I'll go into the policies. I think. Okay, and then a policy that I like to show off is this one, protection of sensitive information. Here we go. So within a policy, you can describe a little bit more about what your organization is trying to achieve. Perhaps you have some kind of a charter process that you need to describe to everybody who's involved. I also want to point out that you can add additional details per whatever your organization needs. And so that you'll find here that we've set up on this demo environment. But also within policies, you'll have governance rules, sub-policies, and data protection rules. So we talked a little bit about those already. A governance rule will talk about the specific standards or things that are part of a policy. So you must protect credit card information or phone numbers. And then a data protection rule is what will automate that. So if we go into protect sensitive personal information, and this was being a little bit slow before, so I apologize if it takes some time to come up, but you will set up a data protection rule based off of metadata. So if, say, a term or the data class is equal to a certain value and user is in a specific group, then you would either anonymize the data or restrict access or whatever is applicable here. So let's see what might be going on. I'm actually gonna leave the full screen. Okay. I'll try this again so I can show this off. Okay. Thank you all for your patience with me. Sometimes this environment, it has been really great, but then other times maybe not. Okay, it just depends on how many of our teams, because it's a demo environment. I think many of them are hitting because the US is awake and so is Europe. Okay, but so for this, we show if we automatically profile as having this data class contains email address or US phone number or a person name, then we will redact the data. And so in this case, redacting means we turn it into all X's, but we'll also obfuscate the data so we can completely change the format and have a different code, but keep it unique, or we'll keep the formatting and just have random values within that. So there are many different ways that you can then anonymize the data. But once you set up your policies, you might want to go next into setting up a business glossary. So in business terms, you can define a little bit more about it, but let's go to customer lifetime value, which we were looking at before. There we go. So now I can read up more about what does customer lifetime value mean, who owns this term, so I do, Where does it sit? It looks like it's a marketing term, but it's also available as part of customer information, more information about it. And then also where you see a lot more value is in an ontology of business terms. So now you can set up a hierarchy and what's part of it, synonyms, any other relationships, then relate these terms back to the other governance artifacts in the catalog. So we talked about the business term suggestions, and a lot of that is also driven by connecting your business terms with specific data classes. So each of our governance artifacts also has an effective period, an owner, and you can look at related content. So here for customer lifetime value, we see that customer file, which we looked at before, is related to this term. So you can find everything related. And that also is important when, say, you're going to classifications. So for example, I could look for all data that is classified as having PII and look at the related content for that. Out of the box, we do support 3 of these classifications, so confidential, PII, and SPI, but you can add more. So for example, at IBM, we use the classification of crown jewels when we need to. All right, so I've set up my policies, set up a business glossary, and then maybe I need to do classifications. So we looked at those classifications. I can also now create data classes for automatically profiling the data. So for example, we can create one here. So create a new data class, webinar demo, okay, and save this as a draft. All right, great. So I'd be able to add, like all the other governance artifacts, a description, effective dates, an owner. But I want to point out the different matching methods that we support. So a matching method is the algorithm that we use when we're profiling data to match it to a data class. So you can list out valid values, or you can use centrally managed reference data, which you have in the platform. You can create a data class with a regular expression or Java code, or you can match to, say, like the column name. And all of this is used, and I'll show it to you within the data curation process. Okay, and then finally, if you are at a stage where you are essentially managing your reference data, then if we can go into reference data and say, look at country codes. So we support today simple code, value, and description. We are adding in hierarchies and mappings and custom columns this year. So there will be more to reference data management in the future as well. You can create a data class out of this, for example, as well as the data quality issues or rules that we had talked about. But I'm also going to show you, so say Albert left the company and I want to add a new owner to this reference data set. So maybe I'll add Aaron. Okay, so we have workflow on this. So this just created a draft, and now I can send it for approval. So I can say, please approve this, potentially set a due date and send for approval. So we have workflow available on all of these governance artifacts, and you can set up either a single approver workflow, 2 approvers, optional review step, optional publish step as well, so that you can kind of map your RACI matrix. So who's responsible, accountable, consulted, informed at different times, and what is the process that you need to go to when you make a change to each of these governance artifact types. Okay, so now that we've set up the foundation, the next thing that we would want to do is to actually go and discover data and add it into the catalog. So I'm going to go back and put on my data quality analyst hat, and here we'll go in. Okay, so for data discovery, you have 2 options. There will be quick scan as well as automated discovery. So we recommend usually doing a quick scan first. So this is really quick, as the name. It uses parallel processing and sampling to go through a large amount of data assets and understand what's in each column. Because once you have that understanding based off of a sample, then you'll know, okay, I have a lot of PII in this area, or I seem to have a lot of data quality issues within this sample of this data set. And so that way you can prioritize where you do your automated discovery, because this is a full analysis on every single row in the asset. It will take much more time than a simple quick scan. So when you set up a quick scan, then you will just choose the connection that you want. You'll be able to find the different schemas and tables that are in this connection and choose those and decide what kind of analyses you want to do, whether you want to analyze each column and the data quality and get term suggestions. And then you send the results to a data quality project. So like a cooking show, I've already done this. I can go to data quality and I'll find all of the data quality projects that I've already done. All right. So I scroll in and say I want to look at my data quality, data lake workspace. So I get an overview of the data quality and relationships, special most used data classes within these assets. But I also talked about creating a fingerprint with column similarity. So we've used our algorithm to create some kind of fingerprint related to age. And so that if I set a threshold or a score, anytime the system sees a column that looks like this column age, then we will mark it as this data class. So this is how you would create a data class using all of the columns or the algorithm that we can create by looking at columns. Okay, and then if I want to dive into each of the data assets, I can say look at bank customers, which has gone into the yellow recently. It's changed by -2%. And so this trending is new to 3.0 as well. But I can also see here the data classes that have been applied to each column that we profiled it as containing that data class. And here you'll see our business term suggestions using terms in our glossary. So we can pick and choose if we think this makes sense or not. That will continue to teach the machine learning algorithm that we use. Now I can also find specific issues. So this is in the red, this zip column. And I can actually go into data quality and based off of 11 key indicators, find issues related to these. So now we have 2 issues, an inconsistent capitalization and data class violation, where it doesn't seem to follow the data classes. And I'd be able to generate a report of all these issues to then send back to the data owner to remediate. You can also not only use our 11 out of the box indicators, but then also use custom data quality rules. So we have a custom rule for a regular expression that a credit card must match. And so we can find very specific data quality issues related to that. But going back to bank customers, I've already published this to the catalog, but if this is something that I think is ready and trusted and reliable for our consumers who are on a specific catalog, I would be able to publish it. And so that's how all of this information then gets into the catalog for that data scientists and data analysts. Okay, with that, I'll take any more questions too, but I also have one thing that I do want to share that I missed when talking about some cool stuff that we've added with like business terms. So I talked about how you can ingest a PDF to kickstart your glossary or your policies. And so I'd like to show you how we would extract. So I did the sample earlier. So say we had a policy document showing money laundering, these money laundering red flags. I can now extract terms from this and get suggestions of term names and descriptions that I might want to add into my business glossary based on whatever documents are custom to your organization or specific to your organization. So I thought that's a really cool thing to show and something that I don't think any other offerings are able to do, which is fun. All right, so it looks like there might be quite a few questions. So Phil, can you read some of them off to me?
Yes. Are you going to share this presentation later? Yes, we absolutely are. So we will send out the actual deck that Emma's covering, and we've recorded this as well. So we're going to have a YouTube recording, and we'll be able to cascade that out, and you guys can share it with coworkers, friends, family, whoever you'd like. Looks like we have another one. I came in late. I might have missed this, but how will this recording be made available? Okay, just answer that as well. Is there also, oh, actually more questions are coming in. What are we viewing available in the demo free tier? Are tutorials available that we are able to access? So with the free tier, it is a 7-day free trial. It's hosted on the IBM Cloud. It's Cloud Pak for data. So what Emma was speaking about at the beginning of this presentation, that Watson Knowledge Catalog is actually one of many microservices provided within Cloud Pak for data. So if you guys download the free trial, you have access literally to the entire catalog, no pun intended. So you can use WKC, you can use some of the other microservices as well. TechD is offering a free tutorial session. So there isn't specifically anything online that's going to walk you through how to get started or anything like that. But we have some technical folks, and we can actually do a live one-on-one session with people in your organization or yourself or individually around how to use the tool. Depending on your various use cases, we can actually even walk through different business cases on your side and correlate that to the solution itself. Okay. Another question, can we reference images in the catalog?
Yes, you can add images to the catalog. I don't think this environment has any images, but that is a type that we support. Let me check. Yeah, so this example just has data assets and connections, but I can actually show you our cloud version. I have a demo. There you go. Okay, so if we go into our demo catalogs here, we have a lot more types that we support, so that you can see an example. Okay. So models, notebooks, folder assets, and different things. So for example, here's a PDF that we have. Okay.
Cool, and we have one other question. The extract terms from PDF is really cool. Will this be applied to other areas of WKC?
Yeah, so not only can you extract it for terms, but then also governance roles. We go back. And here we go, new role, extract from file. And I can show it to you. I believe it's the same, yeah, it's the same sample, okay. Extract roles. Here you go. So we'll do terms and roles right now. We also will have knowledge accelerators with industry specific content that comes out of the box. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Emma. Yep, I think that's it for questions.
Okay. Do you want me to now share a little bit about the roadmap?
Yes, I think people would love to see what's coming out in the future.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so I went over a bit of it and touched on each of these. So new in Cloud Pak for Data 3.0. We talked about the new look and feel, the cool black homepage that I got to show. We have globalized to multiple languages. So we have different tiers at IBM. And so we did those plus Russian, and I can show you actually I have them listed here. So Brazilian, Portuguese, French, German, Japanese, Russian, Chinese, Spanish, Italian, all those now supported. We added the fingerprint technology, and the time trending analysis that I was able to show. Let's see, now you can create data protection rules using classifications instead of just those data classes. You can log a full history of all changes to a governance artifact when you go through workflow. Continuing to make our global search smarter and more relevant, new connectors, as well as supporting the migration of more assets from information server over to Watson Knowledge Catalog. So if you have information governance catalog, we are supporting you with migration. So to come beyond that, we are working heavily on reference data. So you saw we had simple code and value and description. We're adding in mappings and hierarchies and custom columns, also expanding on workflow so it can manage any kind of change request management. You can customize it, workflow however you want, using Flowable, which is the workflow engine that we're using on the back end. In addition, one area that we have the ability to work in that I don't think any other offering really does, and the fact that we're on Cloud Pak for data, is that we have these data science tools and Watson Knowledge Catalog all on the same platform, which means that we can expand Watson Knowledge Catalog to cover not only data governance, but also AI governance. So capturing all metadata around the AI lifecycle and enforcing policies and rules there. So that's where you'll see this AI model policies and rules, as well as what we call a fact sheet about an AI model. And so a fact sheet actually comes from a white paper that our research branch created about all the different information that you need to capture about an AI model before you can trust to put it into production. I mentioned the knowledge accelerators for industry-specific content that we'll be adding into the platform so that you can purchase, as well as building on customization. So we're also highly focused on making sure that you can customize Watson Knowledge Catalog as much as possible, because each organization is huge and different. So we need to make sure that we can satisfy whatever custom thing it is that you need to do. And some other interesting things. So I mentioned that we are built on Project Egeria. So we're planning to open up our APIs using Egeria so that any other offering that's built on top of Egeria, like for example, I believe Apache Atlas uses Egeria, so that we can very easily connect to those. We're continuing to globalize, so working in Swedish, as well as supporting our power customers. Beyond that, other things that we're focused on are business lineage too. So we have data lineage today. It's very technical, wanting to make lineage a better user experience, better performance, as well as one that can work for every type of personas, so that you can start at a high level and then drill down to the level information that you truly need in order to view provenance of data. Any questions then about that? I know we have about 5 minutes left. So if there's something specific that you want me to focus on, I do have some slides showing designs of things. So depending on the question, I might have additional information to share.
All right, folks, I know we covered a lot. Is there any other last questions that we can answer here? Can data quality profiles be exported to a file like PDF or Excel?
You can export the issues that you find, but you do not think that you can export the actual profile of it or the data class assignments or something like that.
Can glossary items roll up to multiple parents?
Yeah, so they can at least belong to different categories. As far as the hierarchy, let's actually just check that. I can do that here. So if we go back to Watson Knowledge Catalog, okay. I think you can have one parent and multiple children, but I can double check that. And I also believe that with custom relationships, as we introduce that, you will be able to set up more relationship types and show perhaps a different hierarchy of parents. So let's see at that. Okay. And can I add? Yeah, sure. Okay. So yes, you can have multiple hierarchies here. So there you go.
Okay, any other questions, folks? All right, well, guys, I am going to once again post the trial in the chat with my contact information. Our call to action also will be to get this recording out to everyone that has attended, along with the deck. Emma, you speak so well. You present so great. We really appreciate it. This was an outstanding session. We are going to have a follow-up, like I had mentioned before, and it's not going to be specifically around WKC or a product per se. As most of us know, data governance is holistic around having the correct tooling, having the correct policies, and having the correct people in place. So IBM is a North American governance group led by Brian Mayer, who's going to be running another webinar in about a month, and we're going to be talking about people and process. Best practices, what we've seen in the industry, how to get started, doing maturity assessments. And it's really going to make sense in conjunction with a tool like Watson Knowledge Catalog. So everyone be on the lookout for that as well. We appreciate everyone's time. We hope this was a good session for everyone, and we will get this recording out to all the attendees.
Yeah, and to answer the question from before, we do have download CSV. I had gotten a text, so I apologize for getting that one wrong, but I will make sure I get the right answer to anyone who needs it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and any follow-up questions, you'll have our contact information. We can keep open dialogues and keep communication flowing. So thank you all again. Emma, thank you so much, and we'll talk to everyone soon.
All right, bye, thanks.
Bye, guys.